The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the set of my show, The Right Side. Thanks for joining me today. Around the world, in America, and between the two shining shores, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Hey, The Right Side with Doug Billings. Prayerfully support the program over at www.dougbillings.us. DougBillings.us, ladies and gentlemen. And for the next few minutes, I want to take you on a clear-eyed, no-spin journey through the inventory of the incredible, extraordinary successes that President Trump has already delivered in his second term. It's worth doing from time to time, looking back, because, I'm not going to give you a laundry list. No, this is the bigger picture. It's how a leader is systematically dismantling decades of globalist overreach, restoring American sovereignty and strength, and common sense on multiple levels all at the same time. We're witnessing history being made, literally, and the results are undeniable. The only people that deny the results are the intellectually immature, the people who are plagued with Trump derangement syndrome, the radical liberals, and those who are just blindly partisan. To deny any of this is crazy. Now, the radical liberals and the kooks and those who are intellectually immature will immediately begin to respond to this content with their usual nonsensical comments and their laughing emojis and so forth. So be it. Whatever. Let's start with the political realignment that's happening right now here at home. President Trump has proven again that the Republican Party is firmly and unmistakably under America First MAGA leadership. Yesterday's primary results in Indiana, for example, and the strong conservative showing that we saw in Ohio have delivered the clearest message yet about all of that. When Indiana's GOP state Senate bucked President Trump's redistricting plan last December, remember? He endorsed primary challengers, and he poured resources into those races. 5 of those challengers won because the base spoke. The old guard learned a lesson. This is not fracture, by the way. This is consolidation under proven leadership. That's what you get with President Trump. The professional doomers and the grifters out there who spent months declaring that MAGA is dead and Trump's not doing anything we elected him to do. I can't even get through a sentence talking about those kooks without laughing. Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Megyn Kelly, and several other lesser-known wannabe podcasters have been exposed as chasing clicks and being on the hunt for the grift. Their pivot to negativity and to Kookville, quite honestly, has aged horribly. Yet even today, there are people hosting programs about Trump not doing what he was elected to do. And the wall, we didn't finish the wall. Oh my God, it's terrible. It's because we have immigration, illegal immigration is at 0. So now we're making fun of, the podcasters are, and trying to chastise President Trump for saving money, not building the wall when he has stopped illegal immigration. So reality on the ground proves all of these kooks wrong every single day. President Trump didn't just survive opposition. He turned all of that defiance into a decisive victory. And the realignment that he's caused means stronger conservative majorities. It means bolder policies and a party that finally understands that loyalty to the voters who built it is what matters. Now we look overseas, where President Trump is rewriting the rules on foreign policy with the common sense approach of peace through strength. In the Iran situation, he laid out couldn't get any more straightforward than his 14-point memorandum of understanding that freezes the conflict, at least for now, and it reopens the Strait of Hormuz, it curbs Iran's nuclear ambition, and it eases the sanctions in exchange for verifiable commitments from Iran. So he's giving diplomacy a chance. Good, as it should be. Project Freedom, which was naval escorts of all other ships, protecting the shipping lanes over there. United States forces destroyed Iranian vessels that were threatening commerce, and for a very fragile ceasefire that so far has held. So Iran's foreign minister now all of a sudden speaking of wanting a fair and comprehensive agreement because they're decimated. And this isn't the old game of endless concessions either. This is maximum pressure followed by clear off-ramps that put American interests first. And the result, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see lower energy prices in time for your Memorial Day vacation, reduced risk of wider war and more terrible atrocities, and a serious blow to terrorism financing throughout the world and especially in the Middle East. President Trump also confirmed that outdated alliances no longer serve us. And this is what I'm really looking forward to, because he's begun the process of re-evaluating NATO and ordering the withdrawal of thousands of troops from Germany, with deeper coming from bases in Italy and Spain. Look, I mean, it's for too long, wealthy European nations have freeloaded on American protection while they criticize our values and they fall short on their own defense spending. Meanwhile, with the money that they save by not ponying up to us and paying their fair share, they give to their people for things like free health care and free education. That's BS, Barbara Streisand. President Trump is ending that one-sided deal and is redirecting those resources to American priorities like border security, military modernization, tax relief, fiscal sanity, strategic wisdom, and more. The globalist scaffolding is coming down faster than anyone could ever have predicted, and it's coming down faster on the international stage. Trump removed the United States from the World Health Organization. Don't forget that. Ending blank check eras of pandemics, centralized health control, and all sorts of other globalist nonsense. He humiliated the World Economic Forum. He crushed its "you will own nothing and like it" agenda, which is what it was. And he sidelined the United Nations. Think of this. Sidelined the United Nations and replaced it and its anti-American framework with his very practical Board of Peace. He dropped strategic truth bombs on the European Union, which has accelerated its internal fractures, and he's freeing trade negotiations to favor United States workers. This list goes on, and if we had to list everything that he's done, I could have a show 2 hours long every Monday through Friday, and it would take us about a week to get through the things that he's done. He's exposed NATO as the outdated burden that it has become, and he's begun to pull the plug on NATO. Every one of these moves dismantles the architecture of managed decline that has slowly surrendered American sovereignty, and it has stripped us of our control of our own destiny. So, ladies and gentlemen, the domestic renewal, and when you look at it, just as profound, just as meaningful. Trump ended the coercive vaccine mandates nationwide, remember? Restored medical freedom to millions of working Americans. He's appointed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Make America Healthy Again initiative, confronting the poisoning of our food supply with ultra-processed junk, seed oils, and additives that have been banned everywhere else except in the United States. Finally, we're catching up with that. Parents are already seeing the promise of healthier children, stronger families, better education. Trump has crushed government-coerced censorship that affected this program. I'm sure it affected you. You ever go to Facebook jail for saying something conservative? And it's exposed, Trump has, the fake news complex. And it's beginning to restore free speech in practice. So the Department of Education, that bureaucratic behemoth that was created in 1979, well, it's being dissected and prepped for shutdown, returning control to states and to parents, local school boards, and ending the indoctrination of our children with anti-American crazy kook ideologies. Prayer and the Bible are once again welcomed in the public square instead of treated like contraband. And on the security front, the borders, like I said, they're closed. Deportations are up in record numbers, removing criminal elements, criminal aliens. Mass migration that was used as a weapon of demographic replacement by the radical left communist-socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, has been stopped. And election integrity finally being restored from the ground up. clean voter rolls, strict ID laws, paper ballots, real-time audits. The central foreign hub of the interference itself in Venezuela has been eliminated. The Supreme Court, which President Trump gave us as a conservative-led majority, has given us a great gift in the last week. Gerrymandering, unconstitutional. The radical left communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, continually for decades has illegally and unconstitutionally gerrymandered, setting up voting districts based on race. No more. And that ruling by itself will give us, before the end of President Trump's term, at least 17 Republican seats in the House. That's the largest win we've seen in the last week, and it's going to be generational in its effects. Major international drug dealing operations have been taken out, choking off the flow of fentanyl and other killers that were weakening our people. Then there's the grand funding scam that bankrolled so much of the chaos and the terror. USAID, it's gone. President Trump ended it forever. No more American tax dollars flowing into war, terrorism, radical gender ideology abroad, media propaganda, political corruption, or child trafficking networks. Every dollar that was once used to finance those dark purposes is now staying home or being redirected to American priorities. And the biggest structural shift of all, President Trump is moving to replace the income tax with honest, fair tariffs. Now, the tariffs took a hit from the Supreme Court, but they're being reimagined and repurposed in other ways and in other formats. Stay tuned for that. For generations, taxation had been used to weaponize and to enslave working people. And it was used also to enrich the globalist elite and their cronies. Tariffs turn the table. Foreign powers and corporations that have taken advantage of our markets are now going to pay their fair share, while American productivity is no longer punished for being productive. So if we would just pause and consider the historical perspective here, I think that we would find that the state of play in America is not only profound, it's amazing. It's beautiful. Previous administrations talked about reform, while the deep state grew and grew, and globalist institutions tightened their grip, and American families bore the cost. President Trump is not talking, he's acting in historical proportions. He's done more on multiple levels: political, diplomatic, economic, cultural, spiritual, than any other president in our history. There's no denying that. All while facing at least 3 assassination attempts on his life. Most men would have stepped back. Trump stepped forward. And he always steps forward with the same unapologetic style, the same non-politically correct refusal to bow down to all of that. And yes, even the same perfectly timed memes that first made millions of people fall in love with him in the first place. The Trump derangement syndrome crowd can flood the comments, and they will, with laughing emojis, immature rhetoric, but it changes nothing. The results are real. The momentum is unstoppable. Our republic, ladies and gentlemen, is stronger because one man refused to accept decline as our destiny. And these successes aren't just isolated wins. They are interlocking pieces of a national renewal. Sovereignty is being restored overseas and at our border. Health and freedom are returning to American families. Institutions that had been weaponized against us are being turned back to serve the people. Imagine that. Fraudulent funding pipelines are being cut off, and the political realignment proves that the American people are fully behind this vision. This is proud conservatism doing what it does best, not merely tearing down failure, but actively rebuilding something stronger, something freer, and more just and more moral. So the doomers can keep their, chasing the grift, chasing the clicks. The legacy media can keep ignoring the obvious, but every working family are now feeling safer in their communities. They're feeling as if they've got healthier options out there, and there's a restored confidence in knowing the truth. We're not drifting towards managed decline anymore, ladies and gentlemen. We're charging forward with the kind of clear-eyed, unapologetic leadership that built the greatest republic in history. And it's now positioning us for an even brighter chapter ahead. Really, in all truthfulness, we stand tall, we stay proud. The future belongs to those who refuse to surrender it. And taking inventory like this from time to time is helpful. It helps remind us that we're in the long battle. This is a golden age of America. We are in a Renaissance period. If you want more content like this, head over to dougbillings.us. Please contribute to the show. That's how I make it available to everyone. No charge, but do contribute over at dougbillings.us. Like and share, follow and subscribe, because all of those simple things drive the algorithm to put this in front of more people. We're in this together, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it. For the Republic. God bless you. Cheers.
Right Side with Doug Billings.